Hey, konnichiwa, Minasan. It's Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House over in Japan. I hope you're good. I hope you're genki. I'm feeling great, thanks. I've just finished reading the new issue of Loki. It's issue 1. It's a relaunch of the characters series. It came out on Wednesday, June 7th. It's priced at $4.99, so a little bit more pricey than usual, but this is because you do get 36 pages of story. Now, the reason I picked up Loki, not just because I've got a bit of a fascination for the Norse myths, but because it's written by a writer whose work I've enjoyed in the past. Do you know Dan Watters? He's not that famous yet, but I really liked his work on, well, he's run on Lucifer, the Sandman universe's Lucifer. He also did Homesick Pilots, which I got quite into, first part of that anyway, and Coffin Bound. Yeah, so he's a British writer. He's got a style which is a little bit indie style, but he's very good with words. And I think his style suits the character, suits Loki, suits his title really well. Now, there's an artist on this who I'm going to mispronounce the name. So again, forgive me for this. It's either German or German Peralta. And I don't know the name, but it says here he's worked on Black Panther in the past. So the question is Loki any good? Is it worth picking up? Well, I hope you can tell from my enthusiastic tone of my voice that, yeah, I would say this is a really good issue, a really good opening issue. And it bodes well for the future of this series. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a limited series. You never know these days. They usually are with Marvel, especially with what you would say not major characters, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it's popular. Looking on the comic book, League of Comic Book Geeks site, and it gives you an idea of the popularity of new comics by how often they've been put in people's pull lists. And this is only an internet site, so it's not really an indicator of how popular this series could be. But it wasn't that high up. It was kind of fairly midway down this week's releases, so maybe a lot of people don't know about it. But anyway, I'm starting to waffle. So let me tell you what this story is about. Let's give you the synopsis. This is called The Liar, Chapter 1. Loki may be the benevolent god of stories now, but Loki's past as the god of lies returns to haunt him when ancient, powerful weapons he once built end up scattered across the 10 realms. Loki must track down these weapons before they fall into the wrong hands and bring about Ragnarok. Surprising guest stars, exciting new characters, and startling twists await in this all-new miniseries. Okay, there we go, I've got it there. Miniseries by rising stars Dan Watters and German Peralta. So that's what Marvel had to say about it. I'm going to keep my review spoiler free. I'm not going to go into like a deep dive of the story. I just want to give you some examples of the writing and the dialogue. I want to read some of these out because, as I was saying earlier, I think Dan Watters has got a really good voice, not just for Loki. Thor appears in here as well. Thor, Loki's brother, and he writes Thor's voice really well. The kind of narration, the description of the Norse myths and the build-up and the kind of history lesson sounds really good. So just bear with me, I'll read from this first page here. This is how we open. The Norsemen knew in times of old. They knew how to survive, how to hunt and raid and kill. They knew how to die. This they did in abundance. And so they knew too how to mourn. They knew to bend the swords of warriors and bury them alongside the corpse so that the dead might be honoured. And they knew it was right to groom the body before laying it to rest, to trim the beard and hair, but most importantly, to cut the fingernails short. To cut them short because of Loki. So that's a great opening. It's got me intrigued, like why is he talking about cutting up fingernails? It stirred up memories before I read this. Has that got something to do with either a weapon or something that was built by Loki? And sure enough, it is. We're told here that Loki, the god of mischief, used to be the god of lies. He's been building a warship since the dawn of time. And guess what this warship's been built of? That's right. In lieu of planks of oak, he was using the ragged nails of the dead to build it. And then we get this awesome image of kind of early version of Loki where he looks like almost like a goblin or something. It's a really dangerous looking, not evil so much as mischievous. You can see why he's called the god of mischief. Look at this face, look at the expression there by the artist. And skip ahead here to this very colourful panel where we've got flashes of the past. We've got the old style, the original style of Thor. Look at his costume there. There's Hera, the goddess who appeared in the Ragnarok movie. It says here that the sails of the ship have been unfurled. Our boards have been trod upon by many who've cried of Ragnarok and sought to fell the gods. Again, it's it's highbrow writing, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't say this was recommended for younger, comic book readers, not for kids really, because it's reading almost like a Norse myths book written by Stephen Fry or, even Neil Gaiman. Okay, here's a bit of Thor's dialogue. We're on page 5 and I want to read a bit. First of all, he looks great, doesn't he? Really good by Peralta. Loki, who is no longer the god of mischief, who many moons ago was even called the god of evil. Loki, who is now god of stories, of parable and possibility, of that which teaches empathy and pattern to the universe. Care to explain to me then, my brother, why instead of upon your throne, I find you here, in the land of Florida? Then we get The Liar, chapter 1, with the little mini credits box here. And Loki sat in the sunshine, drinking some kind of cocktail, laughing. He's got a bit of a smirk on, laughing at Thor. He's saying to Thor, look, this has always been one of my places, Thor. They've always written all these wonderful stories about me here. Wait, are you saying you're... No, it matters not. Again, I want to read Thor in a kind of, not posh, but a British, old-fashioned British accent. What matters, Loki, is that you do not take your kingly duties for granted. How many tales have you known in which a king's hubris has been his downfall? And then Loki answers with this. I know exactly how many have been written, told Thor, so relax. So yeah, I could keep going on without reading some of the lovely dialogue, the lovely narration from this comic book, but just say it's a fun opening issue. Again, some people might be possibly put off by the writing style because it's highbrow, but also what's important is Dan Wadders, he knows how to have a laugh. There's a lot of humour in this as well. Some great scenes, for example, we've got scenes of the frost giants of Jotunheim being taught how to read, and they've got these tiny little books in their hands. They're trying to read, learn the ABCs basically. It's one of Loki's plans just to keep them busy, to keep them occupied while he, is having a good time in Florida. So we get a lot of background, we get a lot of build-up, of course, set up with it being an opening issue. And it's moving towards this exciting conclusion to issue 1 where you see some awesome armoured dwarves. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but wait till you see the art in this. And it's got a kind of surprising, shocking and kind of funny ending to it. And yeah, it leaves you really wanting to read issue 2. So there we go. It's a big recommend from me. If you've got any interest in the character, as I was saying, any interest in Norse myths, and just having a good time, having fun with a well-written, beautifully drawn comic book, do check this out. Okay, so that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you're going to pick up the series, if you're interested in Loki. Have you read the character before? Are you a fan of Thor? I'd love to know that. And as always, thank you so much for watching this far. I'd love to hear from you, so do drop a comment, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. This is Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House, signing off for the night. Matane!